Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is June 16th, 2025, and altcoins have begun their disbelief rally. They're in the beginning stages of a massive surge up. We're going to look at that. We're also going to look at Bitcoin and why Bitcoin may spike to as high as $118,000 per Bitcoin, right? We're going to look at that, and I use the word spike very carefully. Spike is the operative word, so stick with us. Watch until the very end if that sounds interesting to you. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. Let's start with Bitcoin as per usual in the 4-hourly time frame. Look, the very important analysis here, there's a lot of Bitcoin analysis being done, obviously, in the cryptocurrency space. It's the most important asset in all of cryptocurrency. Any serious analysis on Bitcoin's price action, even in this region right here or in this region, it doesn't matter, has to consider all of this. If you're not considering this massive channel for what Bitcoin is likely doing, then you have missed the plot, quite literally. All right? This is very important. It'd be very different if Bitcoin had done this and was moving from here, or had done something like this and was moving from here. That'd be a little different. That'd be massively different. You're sort of testing resistance once again. You're being bullish, or you're exhibiting bullish momentum at a large resistance. This is very important, and I really want to point this out, not to rehash months of analysis, but it's simple. It's not very easy to say, oh, Bitcoin's going to do this and Bitcoin's going to do that, and none of that's super easy. But you know what is simple in technical analysis is just zooming out, being able to read high probability technical analysis, and then just saying, working down from there, sort of focusing in from there. So the high confidence, high probability technical analysis says Bitcoin can spike a little bit from here, and we're going to get why we can also, with the relatively high degree of confidence, say where Bitcoin can spike, the limit to which Bitcoin can spike. But still, it's a spike and not necessarily a realistic move, because you are at massive resistance, right? Specifically, you're at a 200 plus day resistance. So you're not going to do anything serious from this point. As I've said in previous episodes, a serious bullish move would have to have Bitcoin come down here, or even down here first, before testing this resistance, because you do not break a channel from the top. Also, I want to point out, there is such a thing as symmetry. There is such a thing as, yes, symmetry in technical analysis, in charts, and there's certain patterns you see often, over and over again, and then others you never see. Here's what you never see. You never see an actual bullish break from this kind of bottom. That's what you never see. That's a corrective bottom. You see bottoms that take all that. That's a corrective bottom. And more specifically here, if you really want to focus in on how this left the station, so to speak, how this price action left, you see that is not very bullish. That is a corrective breakout. On the 4-hourly time frame, that's an intraday time frame. You would want to see one candle You would want to see one candle and then a retracement and then a continuation. That's one thing you never see. Another thing you never see is a pattern that looks like this. Continue up. You never see that. Some of you might say, what are you talking about? That's an inverse head and shoulders. Yes, an inverse head and shoulders looks like what? This. You have to put in a right shoulder. It's like having an inverse head and shoulders without a right shoulder. You never see it. You never see that. You never see that. And some of you may say, well, Dean, you're missing the point. That's just one of these. No. Look at the bottom. That's why I pointed that out. This bottom is not a bullish bottom. It's a corrective bottom. And I can kind of explain it, but part of me is just using all my chart hours and my eye saying, no, that's not it. Okay, in any case, here's why I'm saying 118,000 spike, and that's the max, okay? Simply because if I'm analyzing this entire range, which any serious analysis must do, because when you zoom out, this is what's controlling the price action and what's been controlling the price action for 200 days. This channel. Nothing happens outside of this channel. Breaking this channel has to happen in one this way or that way. But, breaking the channel actually has to happen like this, but you never break a channel from the bottom or the top. You break it from the midline. So you would have to do something like this to break it, okay? So you would still break it from the midline. In any case, we can say with a high degree of probability, Bitcoin is likely to spike to as high as 118K only because you can judge this, what you see here. You can judge what you see here by what you see prior. So you want to look for patterns. If I'm looking for patterns, I'm seeing that this is one pattern and a corrective one at that, okay? I'm seeing that this is a flat correction. I call this small a. I call this my pivot, okay? Previously. And again, this is talking about the Wyckoff analysis of it all, talking about the, AB basing, Elliott wave, 2 degrees, 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot. I'm not going to go over that previous analysis. I've done it so many times. I'm not going to bore you. But the TLDR of it all is I've considered the past 200 days of price action and how this fits in to the past 200 days of price action according to Elliott wave corrective analysis as well as Wyckoff analysis. That's it. So this is my flat correction. After I have an initial break of structure, an A wave, I'm looking for a B wave, okay? And B wave is what? A B wave is a corrective pattern that goes against the A wave. So if the A wave's going down, that's the direction that the price wants to go. The B wave is going to be complex. It's going to look many different ways, but all in all, it's going to go against the direction of the A wave, and then finally, to finish the correction, the C wave is going to take us back into the direction of the A wave. So again, you have a 3-part correction, right? A, B, whatever it looks like, and then C, okay? So that is what we call a flat correction, and this is something you always see. You always see corrective patterns happen in flavors of 3, and this is why, in Elliott wave analysis, we call them flat corrections, and even outside of Elliott wave analysis, traders know flat corrections, like 1, 2, 3, like something like that, okay? So what is this B wave or purported B wave? That's what we're trying to figure out. So we have one element of it, which is likely this. So I'm seeing right now this as being one element of it. I'm seeing this, something like this, and then something like that. I'm doing this on the fly. Because my eye's just seeing that really clearly. I'm seeing Bitcoin go up here. I'm going to show you this. And I don't know if 118 is going to be our max out. Let me just check. Yeah, it's still going to be around 118, right? Okay, how do I know that? With a high degree of probability, the A wave sets the range of the entire correction because it's the initial break of structure, okay? So I know whatever my B wave does, however crazy it goes, however complex it is, it can only travel 1618 standard deviations, inverse 1618 standard deviations of my A wave. So remember, the A wave goes in one direction, the B wave goes in the opposite direction. 119 is my cap. You typically don't get retracement of the B wave all the way to the phi ratio, so I would say comfortably 118, okay? And I think I did that really quickly on my phone before pressing record, and that's why I got 118, okay? So what's this B wave going to look like? And it goes back to my previous episode now. I think based off of what the altcoins look like, based off of what Bitcoin dominance looks like, what we're going to get, that, we're going to get into both of those in a second. I think you get an up move, a down move, another up move, and then a big down move. And this is what I think it's going to look like. And I'm just going to put this, and this is just my best guess. Again, don't lose the plot. The plot is Bitcoin's going to mess around and may test up to 118. At the end of the day, if you're serious, if you're a serious analyst, you've considered the past 200 days of price action as Bitcoin's been range bound for 200 days. So you have a keen eye on this resistance. And 118 doesn't necessarily break this resistance, but it comes close. Okay, so a serious analyst doesn't get too excited until we break 119. If you're really bullish and you think Bitcoin's going to the moon, if we break 119 thereabouts, I think it was 119.6 on this chart, then all that is invalidated. But people jumping for joy and getting giddy because Bitcoin's once again messing around at a 200-day resistance are unserious. This is not serious analysis. So you don't lose the plot. The plot is at 200-day resistance. Now, on the smaller time frame, what's that going to look like? And this is our best guess, right? So judging by this initial break of structure right here, again, this, what we labeled A, our B wave is likely to give us, judging by that and what the altcoins are showing, what Bitcoin dominance is showing, I think this is what we get. So this move up, a move down, and then another move up. And I kind of put that in last episode, but I wasn't really sure why. I just knew it was likely that we get a move up, a move down, and then another move up. This is now more clear because we have more data, and I mean, we kind of have more data, but not really. I'm just, for some reason, able to see it more clearly here. So for those of you who care, this is why I'm seeing what I'm seeing. I'm just going to put it in really quickly, and then we're going to move on to the altcoins. So I'm seeing this as being a nested flat correction. It's probably going to run like this, right? Run meaning the B wave is going to go slightly higher than the A wave, and the C wave is going to come down, but not quite to the level of the A wave. And then the larger flat correction is going to look something like this. I'm going to put that in another color. Okay. Do you see what I'm trying to do here? Let's make that some other color. Everything's the same color. Okay, whatever. That's fine. Do you see what I'm trying to do here? So it would be No, that's fine. That's fine. I don't have to do that. Do you see what I'm trying to do there? So it's like we go up with this move, and this move right here, then if I'm correct, this move that we're in right now is then we can note, based off of Elliott wave analysis, is capped at 115.6 because that's a phi ratio of this A wave. So this move can go up to 115.6, come down. Let's say it just goes here, come down. So it can go up, come down, go back up to complete this B wave, right? Because, right, this is nested. So A, do you see the nest? It's kind of hard to see and it's kind of hard to explain. But think Russian dolls, think puzzles, patterns. A, B, C, and then that is A. So this right here, there's another one I didn't draw. Let me draw it. Because I'm confusing. It's confusing if I'm just assuming that you see it. Let me draw the last one, just so you can see what I'm trying to show you. I'm gonna change the color. Don't worry. It's something like this. In this, it's like, I can understand why this is complex and it just doesn't make any sense. I get that. But if you're looking at charts all the time and this is kind of a language that you speak, then it makes sense. But I can understand if you're confused. So basically, all I'm trying to say is, I think we can go up here, come down, because that would have to complete this flat correction. And then there's a flat correction here that would require us going up one more time. So basically, at the end of the day, you're going to get, with a high degree of probability, if this analysis is accurate, you're likely getting this: up, down, up. And that is very consistent with what we're seeing in the Bitcoin dominance chart, in the, let me make it solid, in the Bitcoin dominance chart and in the total 3 charts. This gives altcoins the room to break out for that disbelief rally, the first rally of alt season that, very many people said was impossible, wasn't going to happen. It's actually happening right now. I'm going to join the premiere as usual, and if you have questions on this, I'll be there to answer them, but there's so much more there's not that much more I can say. It's kind of like a graphical visual thing. And if you see it, you see it. But if you don't, it's hard to see until you see it. I can put words to it, but there's just so many words I can put to it. The more I explain, maybe the more it gets confusing. But if you're comfortable with flat corrections and you're comfortable with nested flat corrections and how price action works, right? And how these patterns work, you can see what I'm trying to say. This is a flat correction right here. That there's one in white that has to complete. It's in that B wave of the innermost flat correction. Okay? So this is going up. Then it has to complete that flat correction by coming down, right? Because this is the A, so all of this is B, so it's against the A, because this A is up, this B is down. That means this C is up, but the larger one is down, up, down. I can see why it's confusing one last time, but that's why I'm seeing Bitcoin going up, max to 115, 115 and a half, down probably to around 103, 104, something like that, and then up maybe to 118, around 118, and then the big dump that we've been talking about for months. So that's what I'm seeing in Bitcoin. We're going to track it as usual. More data. We're going to refine this read. But this is why I'm seeing Bitcoin giving altcoins liquidity for a massive move up in the coming days, probably for the entirety of this week. I think this happens all of this week. All right, now let's go to altcoins. But first, let's start with the Bitcoin dominance chart. So we were saying in the last episode, Bitcoin dominance was breaking down. It was likely to break down, and we did get a breakdown. Now, that breakdown is incomplete, but it started. Okay, and the breakdown was from these levels right here because we said that we were at resistance, and every single time Bitcoin dominance was at resistance, it came down, 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 and we were likely to get a move down, and we did get a move down. And so we're currently in this move, and I think it comes down all the way to the bottom of this 25-day channel, as we've been doing for the past month. So I think we come down around here, so that the retracement hits the midline, then we finally leave the channel. That's Bitcoin dominance. That analysis isn't that complicated, but that's essentially what I'm seeing, and that is corroborated by our stochastic RSI momentum indicator that's completely overbought right now, i.e. on the hourly time frame, it's likely that we're coming down. This is hourly time frame, by the way. We can go on the 4-hourly, compare apples to apples, since we did Bitcoin in the 4-hourly. I'm just seeing this continue, okay? And for those of you who don't know what this means, when you see Bitcoin dominance coming down, that means altcoins are gaining against Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up 1%, altcoins go up 4, 5, 6, 7%, like that. I think this accelerates past this level of support, right? We know that the midline of any channel, support when you're above it, resistance when you're below it. Right now we're holding support of a 25-day channel. Breaks, that's when you get your big first move in our first rally of alt season, the disbelief rally. Last but not least, let's look at the total 3. The total 3, remember, is all the altcoins minus Ethereum. Okay, it is a good representation of the altcoin space. And what you can see here is that, let me take this out, what we said is kind of coming true. It's happening, right? We're saying that coming down to these levels was tantamount to retesting the resistance of this long-held bull flag as support. So you break the resistance and you retest the resistance as support, and that was the representative support right here. Wasn't quite all the way down here, but it's representative right here. And 1, 2, you put 3 touch points here, right? And you typically see that in price action. 3 touch points forming a nice inverse head and shoulders, and you're off to the races. Okay, and so Bitcoin dominance looks good. The daily candles are promising, right? 2 green days in a row. And more importantly, when you look on the smaller time frames, you see it's kind of like a runaway train. And like, remember when we saw the Bitcoin, I don't have to say remember, I can just go and show you. I was saying that, I don't like this. If you're bullish on Bitcoin, you should not like this as a bottom, right? If you look at price action long enough, there's some things that you trust making a bottom. Like, there are certain patterns that are good bullish patterns that offer good continuation. And then there are other bottoms that are like, it's not stable enough. It doesn't show enough strength to hold, and it's unlikely to do so. It doesn't hold the rally. That's the best I can put it. And the best most bullish bottoms patterns have very little business. Like, they just go. They don't dilly-dally. They don't base too long. They're not involved. They're, none of that. They're just one nice candle on the 4-hourly, the daily, like that. Okay? And I said I didn't like this. Now, look at the altcoins. Compare. Same time frame. 4-hourly time frame, right? Look at what the altcoins did on Sunday evening, right? So you did your little consolidation. Everything has to consolidate, obviously. But then look what happened right here. Look at that bottom. It's just 4 hours. Like, once it's gone, it's gone. It's not, It's just, okay, let me put in 1, 2, 3, gone. It's gone. If you can't tell the difference, I'm not like criticizing you or anything like that, but again, this is something it's hard for me to explain. It's something that you just go back and forth, and if you have an eye for it, you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, maybe it's not that easy to see, maybe it's not that obvious. I could explain it in terms of pure impulsive price action, and how you don't retrace beyond the 618, and how on the smaller time frames it looks like a 5 waves up, 3 waves down. I can do all of that, but I'm not trying to make that point. I'm trying to simplify it and say on X time frame it looks like this, and that doesn't look like that. So anyway, good thing is, looking at looking at this total 3, these altcoins, they've just been running on the 4-hourly time frame, multiple green candles in a row, and not once did you retrace beyond the 618, i.e. you've been in pure impulse, never retracing more than 62% of your previous advance. This is very encouraging for continuation. This is what you see in alt season. This is what you want in a pure rally. Expect this rally, I'm going to move this. Expect this rally to continue till about 1.19 trillion, which is the midline of our 500-day channel. And that is when I'm expecting Bitcoin. I'm expecting Bitcoin to hit the top of this B wave, right? Remember, Bitcoin, we're expecting an up, a down, and an up, okay? We're in the first up. We're in the first up for Bitcoin. Right here is where I expect it to peter out, to lose steam around 115K, okay? If Bitcoin's really bullish, people think it's really bullish, people are buying billions of dollars worth of this asset at the top. This is what happens at tops. People just buy tops. This is always going to happen. This is why you get bearish springs, and bottoms show bullish, this is why you get bullish springs at tops and bearish springs at bottoms. Springs in Wyckoff analysis are breaking the plane of resistance or support and then going the opposite way. That's why I said in the beginning of the video it may spike, because people don't recognize the fact that we're at a top. They get really excited because the concept has been proven that it can be bullish. Even though it's at a top, they irrationally think it's going to continue, and they buy the top, and then what happens is they buy into weakness, and then it just retraces upon itself, and you get one of those spinning top candles, okay? So, right, Bitcoin going up, down, up, same or similar to our altcoin analysis, going up, down, up, right here. Look at that. So we have altcoins going up, down, up, right? Before our first major retracement. So up, down, up, the first up, I'm expecting 1.19 trillion before, a 62% retracement thereabouts. And then a big up, that's Bitcoin going from around 102 to 118, is it? And that's a massive move. And so, yeah, this is what I'm seeing in the market, guys. That's what makes most sense to me. Again, as always, I'm going to look at the price action and with more data, refine my reads. If it gets invalidated in some way, shape, or form, I'll refine it. If it further gets reinforced, I'll just refine it even more. Yeah, hope this was helpful. If this was useful, like, share, and subscribe. If you got value, consider tipping me. Venmo, Litecoin, Cash App, all at the pinned comment below. And consider my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service, where I help you first and foremost identify bullish assets in the bull market. Not everything that is an altcoin is going to run. Some things are still in consolidation. Be very, very careful. And then also not only helping you identify which assets can sustainably run in the bull market, but I help you identify logical tops and bottoms so that you can maximize your portfolio during the bull run. You can sign up to that crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service at the pinned comment below. Guys, see you next time. Bye.
Seems I wake in the days while the world spins without me. Arrived at the fork in the road, could turn back, repeat the same story, or march forward and embrace change and reflect upon his glory. I'm a selfish man, therein lies the whole problem. Torn between my actions and the will of my heart. I had to take it all apart to see where I stood as a man, to depart from this world and leave it in his hands. Come on. Yeah.
Looks like I'm heading for the gold, y'all. Touring on a pothole road, y'all. I get it even if I didn't fit in, winning right up to the end, like I didn't even know, y'all. I have pop's genetics, working hard never to get it, like shit or better than letting life get the best of my efforts. Instead I dedicated to bettering my steps, measuring investments, watch me do